guys, my name is Margaret. I'm one of the dietitians over at North Carolina Surgery Rex Bariatrics, and today I'm going to get us in the festive fall spirit by making an egg white pumpkin oatmeal. So we have all the ingredients in front of us right now. We have oatmeal, which by itself is a fairly high carbohydrate, low protein option. We're actually boosting the protein content by adding some Fairlife milk, which we know is high in protein, some egg whites, and then the festiveness with some pumpkin and pumpkin spice. So I have everything measured out in front of me already. I have 1/2 cup of Fairlife milk, skim or 1% preferably. I have 1/4 cup of dry oatmeal. I have 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice with a sprinkle of salt in there, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of egg whites, which is actually 1 egg white if you want to separate a total egg, and 2 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. So the first thing we're actually going to do before I head over to the stove is we're going to mix together the 1/2 cup of Fairlife milk, the pumpkin pie spice, and we're actually going to add in the pumpkin puree at this time. So I'm mixing these all together in the pan that will be going on the stove on medium heat in just a second. And we're going to mix those together until they become a nice cohesive liquid, and then we're going to put those on the heat. Once we have everything mixed together, we will put the pan on the stove on over medium-high heat. And we're going to want to watch this closely because milk can boil very, very quickly. Once this comes to a boil, that's when we're going to add the oatmeal. But again, watch it very closely and stir it fairly frequently so it doesn't scald. So we're actually coming to a boil right now. And so at this point, I'm going to add in the oatmeal. I'm going to mix this together and I'm going to lower the heat down to a simmer. And I'll mix this together, and this will actually cook for about 5 minutes until the oatmeal has absorbed most of the liquid in the pan. Most of the excess liquid has been absorbed. We have a nice oatmeal-y, porridgey consistency. And this is when we're actually going to add in the vanilla. So I'm going to add the vanilla first. This is also where we're going to add in the egg whites. Now remember, the egg whites are going to be what's adding this extra protein to the oatmeal, but we have to be careful. Once we add these egg whites, we have to whisk very, very thoroughly for the rest of the time so the eggs don't scramble. So I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of egg whites, and I'm going to start whisking this up. Now, not only are these egg whites giving us that additional protein, they're also going to make the oatmeal nice and fluffy and give it a very filling texture. So we're going to whisk this fairly constantly for the next 1.5 to 2 minutes, waiting for all the excess moisture to absorb. All right, so the oatmeal has finished cooking. We have a nice, fluffy, thick consistency. Now it's time to actually serve it up and eat it. So let me pour this into our bowl, and we can actually see how fluffy it has become. Remember, those egg whites are what's going to make it nice and fluffy and really, really filling, and also give us that protein content, as well as the protein from the Fairlife milk. So it makes a pretty decent sized bowl of oatmeal. Remember, 1/4 cup of oatmeal is always going to cook up to 1/2 cup of cooked oatmeal. And so we have this ready to eat, but I know one of our favorite things on top of oatmeal are toppings. So I wanted to add a couple toppings, but I also wanted to give you a warning about topping your oatmeal and even topping your yogurt parfaits. We need to remember that every time we add things like nuts or craisins, we're adding calories. So I want you to be mindful of how much you're adding. So to my oatmeal, I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon of crushed walnuts. 1 tablespoon of walnuts is going to give us about 50 calories, and it's going to give us about 4 grams of fat. Now, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of craisins. These are the lower sugar craisins. 1 tablespoon of low sugar craisins is going to give us about 30 calories, of which most of those calories have come from sugar. So about 7 grams of sugar from the craisins. But still, I know toppings are what make the oatmeal, and besides, they add a little bit of color to it too, don't they? hope you like this very easy, very delicious breakfast option. It's just a way to get your oatmeal in without having too many carbohydrates and by boosting the protein content. Now remember, we don't recommend oatmeal for patients within 3 months after surgery. But as long as you're 3 months or further from surgery, go ahead and try this option. It's a great, delicious breakfast idea. For other great recipe ideas, be sure to check out rexbariatrics.com, where we keep all of our recipes on file for you. I hope you have a great day.